Oh, hi. You caught me in the middle of one of my favorite books, The Call of the Wild by Jack London. You're going to read this book soon, so I'll tell you a little bit about it. Call of the Wild was written by Jack London. He was a very interesting person. He was born in San Francisco in 1876. He grew up in poverty and was a juvenile delinquent as a youth. In his late teens, he traveled the U.S. as a hobo, hopping on freight trains. At the age of 21, he moved north to the Klondike Territory in Alaska to search for gold. And that's really where things changed for him. Although he didn't make any money from his time searching for gold in Alaska, he came up with many adventures that he included in his stories, including the book The Call of the Wild. London returned to California in 1899 and began writing. The Call of the Wild was published in 1906. Also in 1906, London published a companion book to The Call of the Wild, which was titled White Fang. It is not necessarily a sequel because it's different characters and it's sort of the inverse relationship. And as we go through Call of the Wild, I'll talk a little bit more about White Fang, but I don't want to spoil the book for you, so that's why I'll leave it at that. London published several novels and short stories, but however, none of them were very financially successful, and he ended up living most of his life in poverty. He drank heavily and was also in very poor health. He became addicted to pain medication, which ultimately led to his death. He died on November 22nd, 1916, at only the age of 40, but by that time he had published 49 books, including 19 novels and 18 books of short stories. Some people believe that The Call of the Wild is a symbolic autobiography about Jack London's life. As we read it, you'll see how it might actually be similar to his life. About the book is set during the second gold rush, the first gold rush being to California, the second gold rush being to Alaska, which they also called the Klondike Gold Rush. It takes place in the Arctic regions of the Yukon Valley in the northwest Canada and Alaska. So you can see the little green area is what's considered the Yukon Valley on that map, which is part of Canada, part of Alaska. Most of the setting is out in the wild, but occasionally they mention some cities. For instance, Dawson City is mentioned quite a bit. Major characters. Buck is the main character, the protagonist of the story. He is a huge dog, a cross between a St. Bernard and a Scotch Shepherd. And the novel pretty much follows what Buck does throughout the story. Spitz is a husky dog, equal in size to a full-grown wolf, and he is the cruel leader of the pack that Buck joins. Peral is a French-Canadian. He is Buck's first master in the Yukon. Francois is also a French-Canadian and a partner of Peral, so we'll get to know them a little bit as we read. John Thornton is a trapper in the Yukon and one of Buck's masters throughout the story. Some minor characters. Judge Miller is Buck's original owner. Manuel is Judge Miller's gardener. And I don't want to spoil anything for you, but he has a major role. Even though he's a minor character, he has a major role in Buck's adventures. Curly is Buck's friend. He's also a Newfoundland dog, so he's another big dog. Dave is a member of Buck's dog sled team, and he serves as sort of a teacher to Buck. Some other dogs on Buck's team are Solex, Billy, Joe, Pike, Sub, and Dolly. And just to mention three other of Buck's masters, Mercedes, Charles, and Hal. They are explorers in the Yukon and very inexperienced dog sledders. So, that's the character list and a brief synopsis of what The Call of the Wild is. It's a very violent book, I will warn you. It is about dogs, and the main characters are dogs, but it's not some Disney type movie where the dogs talk. So don't think it's that it's going to be talking animals. It's a very graphic story, but a very good quick read. It's only 7 chapters, so we'll be through it quite quickly. But that's it. That is what you need to know before we start reading The Call of the Wild.